Hey, welcome everybody. It's Mike Price Top Producer Series. Got my good buddy Nolan Scott on here today. Nolan, how you doing, sir?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate your time. We are going to be going on live on Facebook, folks. So please give us a like or make a comment if you can. And so, well, Nolan, thanks for coming in. And a little bit about Mr. Nolan. He is a certified project manager professional as well as a licensed real estate agent. And he uses that unique blend of expertise in all of his transactions, which is a big benefit to his clients. And from 2016 to 2021, you owned and operated a successful inspection business. Is that right?
Yep, home inspections definitely helped give us a strong advantage on the sales market now here in Atlanta.
That's
Specifically,
awesome,
we
man.
have that
So
knowledge.
who wouldn't want to have an agent that was also a former home inspector, right?
Yeah, it helps a lot. It's a great sales pitch, and I mean, again, we run into issues all the time that have to be resolved, and yeah, it always adds value.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for coming over today. And some exciting news for those of you that don't know Nolan. He has just recently moved over to our brokerage, EXP Realty. So congratulations on making the move. It was a long time coming.
Yeah.
And you just came over from a brick and mortar business. That's where I came. Same thing I did. I came from a brick and mortar business. And so tell us why you did that. Why did you make the change?
Well, for me, I think the revenue share model creates incentives across the board for all agents involved with the brokerage. My favorite aspect about it, aside from the revenue part, of course, is I like how it drives so much collaboration between agents within our brokerage, and
Yeah.
something that I hadn't had the opportunity to experience until I came over to a cloud-based revenue share model. And essentially, I mean, Mike, you're a good example. I mean, if I need something, if somebody in my downline needs something, I'm ready to provide it to them. If somebody in my upline has access to some, information or technology that I can use to leverage my business, they're usually quick to let me know because, again, the more business everybody does in that brokerage, the better everybody does. So,
Amen, brother.
yeah,
The collaboration piece is unmatched. I mean, it's because there's financial alignment, right?
hmm
The revenue share of the stock as well. We'll talk about the stock in a minute. The revenue share and stock give financial incentive for folks to help. And in the brick and mortar uh, scenario, it was kind of like that, but kind of really not. It was okay,
yeah,
but it's really hard. I mean, they say it, and I was with that company 10 years, but it just really didn't really work out that way. You really had to go outside and seek it on your own, didn't you?
Well, to your point, I think the brick and mortar models are just a little bit behind, the new wave of it in the sense that, the brokerage I came from, yeah, they had a quote unquote revenue share model. However, it was one tier. So
Yeah.
if you bring on someone that's a super performer, it doesn't really mean anything for your business. Whereas at EXP, it definitely makes a big difference, not only again for the revenue, but the opportunities you're going to have to collaborate with those people in the future. So again, I know that there's some people that have different opinions about, how they feel about that system. I can tell you in my experience coming right in through the door, it's all positives for me. I've seen no negatives. I see no reason why I would ever go back to a brick and mortar kind of system. Mainly again because the collaboration is it's just second to none. There's no competition, it seems like, between agents like there was at the
Right.
place I'd been before. It's more, hey, let's both go out and be successful, and that's fantastic, especially for new agents. I mean, if you're a new agent, do you want to work at a brick and mortar place where everybody's been there forever and they've done things the same way, or do you want to come to a new, fun young brokerage that has a system put in place that is literally made so that people in your up and down line support
Yeah.
you? I mean, I can't think of a reason not to.
Well, a lot of folks. I was one of them for a long time. Think we have this. The brick and mortar is all we know. So It's
Yeah.
I feel like they have to be in a physical office. I want to be in the office with people. It's a social thing. And I decided years ago, before when I came over here, 4.5 years ago, I've always like been the kind of guy that just kind of created my own social thing. I mean, I invited people to do things. I set up events and Braves games and things like that. So I kind of did that anyway. And I found when I went into the office, I mean, there's a lot of nice people there, and it was really good to catch up with folks. But the people that were doing all the business weren't hanging out in the office. You know, they just weren't. They just weren't even at the team meetings, and some of them would be, but it just was more of the folks that really weren't trying to get to where we were trying to get. I guess I was trying to say.
I couldn't agree more. I think honestly, going into an office, I mean, number one, especially in Atlanta, I mean, you're going to fight the traffic here every day. And then honestly, it slows me down.
Yeah.
Me down more than it speeds me up because, yeah, I've got good relationships with people at my old brokerage, and we chew the fat, so to speak. And next thing you know, you've lost an hour of your day, and you haven't done anything to grow your business.
Yeah. Well, getting in the car, driving to the office, it's okay. But like the setup we have a virtual world, which I remember when I moved over, a lot of people were throwing darts at me like, you're in this video game. And it's really like everybody works from home. So they're at home, but you can go in and talk to client services or a broker or anything, accounting, anything you need. And it's so efficient and it's right there. And you're doing it on your second screen while you're working, and you never miss a beat, other than the 5 minutes you're in there doing what you got to do. So, it's definitely, I'm with you. I don't see ever going back to a brick and mortar. It just doesn't really make any sense at this point.
No, and you can allude to as well to the stock option opportunities at EXP, which is just another feather in its cap. That was another reason why. I mean, I haven't really talked about it very much, and you're probably most knowledgeable on the subject, but the stock option is another great reason to come over.
Well, there's a couple things. I'll show you one of them right now. You become an icon. There's a little hardware right there. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can get stock. When you close your first deal, they give you $200 in stock. If you bring somebody in the company and they close a deal, then they give you $400 of stock. When you cap, you get $400 of stock. When you icon, which is cap, and then you do 20 more transactions, they give you half of your cap back in stock. And it's amazing. And then to get the other half, the other $8,000 of the $16,000 cap back in stock, then you do some cultural requirements. You go to the annual conference, which is usually, it was in Miami last year, EXPCon. And then you go to the Georgia Rally, which is local, right here in town. I think it's in, I'm not sure where it is. I think it's in Duluth this year. And then you get to do my favorite part is to get the remainder of your stock awards is you get to give back and either teach classes, mentor agents, or you can be on or lead panels with other top producers and giving back information and giving, information back to the community in that way. So it's really a win-win for everybody. And anybody that's not in a system where you're getting an equity share of the company to be here, you may want to rethink it, because that's a big deal. I own an equity of the company. We're owners of the company, and that's another reason for the collaboration. I want you to win. I mean, the better you do, the better we all do, right?
100%.
Yeah,
it's great.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you came over. And then we've got some big plans, and we're going to reveal some of that a little bit later. But let's talk about the market for a minute. I mean,
sure.
That's why everybody's here. Everybody's here to sell houses, and we've got a lot of listings right now. The market is what the market is always. But we want to hear, you are a data machine, and I want to hear, where do you think the market's heading in terms of price, days on market, et cetera? Let's hear your take on it.
Well, I think a lot of uncertainty given the tariff regulations is definitely going to impact us pretty heavily. We're going to have to see how that pans out. I don't think anybody really knows how that's going to go. It seems like every 14 hours, there's a change in strategy at the federal level. So that is a bit of uncertainty that makes it difficult. If we just want to look at the numbers on it, which is again, what I'm into. I mean, we're right now January 2025, and I use that as a benchmark because that's your peaks for days on market. Typically, it's also your peak for expired listings, right?
Yeah.
So we look at 2025 today or this year, and we hit about 30 days median days on market for the Atlanta region. So just so you know, this is drawing a circle from the center of downtown Atlanta out 25-mile radius. We hit 30 days on market. This is all backed by FMLS data. So this is a really good, accurate data of properties that actually closed, right? Expired listings hit 1,300. We go back, we look at the closest year that we have, at least over the last decade, was 2016. We had 34 days on market, and then we had about 1,100 expired listings, just slightly under. And, we can talk about how that feels. I honestly think it's a great thing for the industry that we're kind of getting more back, dialed into a balanced market, right? For me personally. But with that said, I don't look at 2016 as a dire year. It was a great year. Homes appreciated in value. Zillow is still speculating we're going to see a 3% increase in valuations over 2025. Honestly, again, depending upon the uncertainty related to the tariffs, if we actually do be tariffs on lumber coming out of Canada and, gypsum coming out of Mexico, that's going to push up the price of new construction substantially, which is going to elevate the cost of pre-existing homes. So, I think the real interesting part of this data, before we get too into the weeds about all the complexities of it, is expired listings are higher than it was in 2016, but days on market are a little bit less. And I think, and you can allude to this, Mike, you do a lot of listings. I think the issue is that sellers still have the psychological mentality that they're going to chase the absolute upper echelon of the price valuation that they can. So you've had, I guess people stuck in that kind of 2022, 2023 mindset where, again, 2022 median days on market, 9 days, expired listings, 378.
Yeah.
So you've got people stuck in that mentality, and they're trying to chase the absolute limit of the price valuation they can get. And I think, some real estate agents maybe not adjusted their price down enough. And then B, you've also got a lot of this kind of FSBO mentality where I think the price valuations on those listings are just way overdone. But anyway, that's beside the point. So what are your thoughts on, chasing price and how that's impacting kind of, days on market and expired listing?
Well, we're in a skills-based market now. In 2020, 2021, and a large part of 2022, all you had to do was be there. You didn't have to be really good at it. I mean, you were just, if you had a real estate license, and I hate to say that, and I mean that in the nicest way, there's just, as a good friend of mine once said, idiots and experts get paid the same in real estate. You can get your real estate license and get paid. You could literally put a sign in the yard and you get your home sold. Now you have to go back to like in the 16 market. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your data. You got to know comps. You got to know neighborhoods. You got to know all that. And we've got, 20 something listings right now on our team, and we carry around that many all the time. And so we're dealing with a lot of sellers. And like you said, every seller on the planet wants to sell up here. Always. The market's usually right here. Okay. But they want to sell here. And a lot of sellers that we're talking to, and we don't take every listing that we go on. We sometimes we turn them down, or sometimes the seller wants to list too high, and it's just not going to be a fit for us. But what I'm seeing is sellers are going for so high, and they're not paying attention to the signs that your listing isn't going to sell. Lack of showings, lack of viewings, lack of activity altogether. And they always blame it on some other factor other than their price. And that's why we're seeing a lot of listings expire, and we're seeing a lot of listings on the market, stay on the market. Now, the people that are making price adjustments within that 2 to 3 week period, 4 weeks on the higher end, when they're making that adjustment, the right adjustment, those things are getting sold. But otherwise, they're just sitting, and then they're expiring, and they're going through 2 or 3, 4 agents till they finally figure out, hey, here's the price. And so that's, and great data, man. Like 2016, I remember 2016. We were moving right along at a good clip, and then 2020 came and blew the whole thing up. But so, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, it seems like the more people I talk to, especially people that aren't in the industry, so people I'm meeting in open houses, there tends to be some social media movement to kind of maybe amplify the perception that homes aren't moving at all, and that's just not true. I mean, homes are moving pretty well. Matter of fact, again, as I said when we started this subject, I'm glad that things have cooled off. Like you said, if you had a license in 2021, 2022, you could sell houses because you didn't have to sell the house that sold itself. Right now, you've brought back some of the skills involved that needed to. I mean, that you really need to have to be and call yourself a real estate consultant or a real estate professional, right? So, I've seen a lot of that though. I talk to people, and yeah, we have seen price technically flatline a little bit, but I don't see prices staying flat for long. The 10-year really especially over the last basically 14 days has really increased a lot. So that's made it a little bit more difficult to get lending already. I think if that tapers back down, the Fed says they're going to cut rates. I mean, the CME Watch tool for June is basically saying there's an 80% chance they're going to cut rates, at least 25 basis points. Now, granted, the 10-year doesn't move directly in line with the Fed rate. However, that is a big contributing factor to the 10-year yield. So I think if things do taper down, and things get better, we're going to see that price increase come back again, especially again if the tariffs go into effect. And then I think we're going to start seeing a reduction on days on market over the course of the year because lending is going to get more accessible. I mean, Mike, you work with buyers too. I mean, I've got a lot of buyers, especially in that like $500,000 to $750,000 price range, 150,000, excuse me, who kind of got themselves priced out, especially here recently. I mean, we've seen such a run on the 10-year yield over the last 14 days that, I mean, if you weren't locked in, I mean, you may not be able to qualify for that top dollar home if that's what you do. So, I mean, what do I see? I mean, if we zoom out a little bit, we look at national data. I mean, we're basically getting back to pre-2020 normalcy. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And price adjustments on the regional side of things are still moderate. I wouldn't say that that there's too much market stabilization overall. I just think we've just hit a peak where things aren't as wild as they used to be. We're no longer in the Wild West. We're in a balanced market, a normal market.
That's exactly right, and it doesn't seem normal because back and it's kind of like when the market crashed in 08. For 10 years, I kept hearing sellers go, "Well, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash again." Like, what a terrible strategy. So the same thing as sellers are still thinking that it's going to be like it was in 2020, 2020, and 21. I mean, the rates were 3%, 2.5%. We're not going to see that again for a long time. It may be in our lifetime. And if you remember, and I know you probably do, the second best real estate market of all time in 2006, the rates were 6 to 7%. It was still humming along. So I think you're right. I mean, we're going to just see, we're in a normal market now. We're in a normal market. It's skill based. And for agents out there, if you're doing, all buyers, you need to start talking to sellers, and if you have more leverage, more time, and sellers listings usually reveal buyers, and it just becomes skill based. If you're doing 5 deals a year, you can easily do 10 with a few tweaks, and aligning with the right folks. So, well, that's good info on the market. Let's talk about open houses for a minute. I know you're a crusher on the open house scene. I've seen you in action. Your open house setup is top notch. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
A lot of agents including you, use open houses to generate leads and sales. And you do a lot of them. How do you handle these interactions this year? How do you do your open houses, and how do you handle it when you're talking about buyers in the open houses?
Well, first and foremost, I recommend, anybody that gets into open house, if you want to make it a pillar of your business, you need to invest some money in some physical advertisement. We do the feather flags, the big directionals. We do the 18 by 24 directionals. Very few people do, and I like that. It brings a lot of people in off the road, and then it creates an air of, I think, professionalism when people actually arrive to the home. The big things for me that I see a lot of people do recently that I think that could be improved upon is, when people enter your home, have a clipboard in your hand with a sign-in sheet. Don't have a QR. I mean, you can have a QR code. That's fine. But most people aren't going to scan a QR code to walk through the door. And I've got a little, stand where I put a QR code. If you want to scan it, great. It tells you some information about the house. But at the end of the day, me walking up to you and saying, "Hey, if you don't mind, please sign in. And if you've got any questions about the house, great." Some of my favorite questions that I've started doing this year is I usually lead, after we walk around for a bit, we chat about the house. I say, "Well, what's your favorite thing about the house?" And usually you'll get like a generic answer like, "Well, I like the ceilings that are tall. I like the pool out back." I usually always follow it up with a much better question, which is, "What's your least favorite thing about the house?" Right? And just right up, I mean, this just met this person. Tell me what you hate about this house.
Yeah.
And and what it does is it basically encourages that potential buyer to, number one, vet them on that individual house right off the bat. Because if they say, "Well, I don't like this, I don't like that," they name 5 things, that may not be the house for them. So, but secondly, what it allows you to do is it allows you to help them see the resolution to some of their concerns. And again, I think that's where owning a home inspection business and having a construction background actually adds a lot of value, because especially in new construction, Mike, and you do a lot of new construction too. If there's some things you don't like about the house, let's change it.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I'll show you how it works. I'll tell you how much work's involved. I'll tell you how much time it takes. Those are the kind of things as an agent that if you want to have that value, I mean, you have to understand construction, but that's a big value add to a lot of people. But, and I'll say the last thing about that question that I really like is that if there are things the person doesn't like about the home, and that, basically takes away their interest on the property, or they didn't have any interest on that specific property to begin with, you immediately know, hey, here's 4 things they didn't like about this one. Hey, here's some potential other listings in the area that you might want to look at that kind of meet your criteria if this one isn't the right one for you.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, we're trying to sell the house. I mean, obviously an open house, you're trying to sell the house for your client on the listing side. But at the same time, if somebody's not going to buy the house, at least lead them down a path that's going to give you as much information as possible for you to give them what they're looking for. So that's the new thing this year, Mike.
Well, open houses have been a pillar in our business for years, and it should be, like you said, in every agent's arsenal. But you got to make it. You got to make it a 10. You can't just stick a sign in the yard, a balloon out there, and go hope it works out. You got to prep. You got to do some, like right now with social media. I mean, it's got to be everywhere. You got to be ubiquitous. You got to be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the social. The big flag you got out there. We have balloons everywhere. We have little spinny things that spin in the wind, and you got to have directionals all over the place, because you want to set yourself up as a pro. When these people come in, they're looking at you. I mean, they may not have an agent. They're looking at you like, is this person going to represent me like a pro? And so you got to be acting like a pro. I want to touch on one thing you said about avoid asking, "Are you working with an agent?" We never say that. We never say you work with an agent, because it's kind of like when you walk into a store, you're like, "Hey, can I help you?" You go, "No, I'm just looking." Right? Of course, You're in the store to buy something. I always just get to know them a little bit, and I go, "Who's the agent that you're working with? What's the name of your agent?" And you can tell right away if they don't have an agent, because they're like, it's my friend's cousin's. Like, okay, perfect. You just want to, you don't want to embarrass them, but you just want to, let them know that you are here and you're the one that they need to be working with. And if they feel like that you're knowledgeable about the house you're holding open and other houses in the area, then you got a really good shot at working with them. And I think that's probably how you land some of these people. Because I remember you did a new construction open house for us, and these people were asking you these questions, and you're like, "Hey, no, we can change that. We can do that." And other agents may not know that. So that's a great strategy, man. I'm glad you're doing that. You do it well too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's talk about 2 more things. Let's talk about video. I know we didn't really talk about that earlier. How how important do you think video is now in an agent's arsenal? And what do you think the benefits of doing video are?
Well, I mean, obviously, to grow a social media presence and to show value, I think, um, for the individual agent in the marketplace. I mean, and here's the thing about this, the video thing is it's affordable. You know, I mean, if you're in the industry and you're starting out and you're looking for a way to market yourself on social media,
Mhm.
call some, again, one of the beautiful things about EXP, we're all collaborators, right? Call some agents in the area. Say, hey, listen, you got this home listed. I'd love to do some marketing for you on my social media platform. Is there a way I could go out, shoot some video, and put it on my social media platform? And I think that's great. Number one, for marketing yourself, but number two, I think more and more people are going to move to online sales. I mean, we look at what Redfin has kind of tried to do with Rocket Mortgage now acquiring them. I mean, the whole strategy is going to be eventually to try to have everything in one house. I've got the lender, I've got this, I got that. That's what the big corporations are trying to do. Well, you can pretty much kind of provide a similar experience, and honestly, a much better one, because you're going to give them access to competition. Whereas if you go to Rocket Mortgage, here's the price, take it or leave it. Oh, you want to talk to somebody? It's going to take you 3 days to call. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. Um, I think that offering online services, specifically video, is going to be a great way to sell houses in the future as we get more and more into, kind of a mentality where it's acceptable to buy things online.
Yeah.
And we thought buying a car online was the craziest idea ever. Now look at Carvana, right?
Yeah.
And I think houses will go in that same direction. So get ahead of it now. Build an online following through Instagram. I use LinkedIn a lot. And shoot some of these videos and show these people these properties. I mean, not only will you get leads from it, but you'll probably actually actively sell the house.
Well, I was telling my team this morning in our production huddle, on Tuesdays we meet for an hour and we go over all of our business for the week and where we're at. And one of the things I was talking to them about was when you go on a listing appointment or you go on an appointment to meet a new buyer, potential buyer, before they even see you, before the appointment, they're looking you up. They are Googling you. They're looking through social, LinkedIn, all the social, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. And they're looking to see how many reviews you have. They're checking you out. And if you don't have an online presence, you're going to miss out on some business. And the people that are doing video are going to be, they're 73%. I've read the stat this morning. 73% of sellers are more likely to work with somebody that's doing video. Wow. And I know you do a great job of the video, and we don't do I need to be following you because you're killing us on the video. But if it's just one more arrow in the quiver, because if you're going to go into a listing appointment and say, hey, I'm going to price your house well, and we're going to get it sold, or you're going to say, hey, I'm going to price your house well, and I'm going to do these 11 things for you, including all this video, and I'm going to shoot a video of the house. I'm going to do a drone fly through, and I'm going to do, that is attractive to sellers. And like you said, get ahead of it now, folks, because it's where it's going. I mean, if you're not doing video now, you need to start doing it, and don't worry about what you look like. The authentic you is what everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can dive more into it, in later episodes, but I mean, the cost effectiveness of it. I mean, go buy a DJI gimbal and put your phone in it for $150 and get started at least, right?
Yeah.
Now, needless to say, what we do is a little bit more higher end than that, but still, it looks great. I mean, that's how I started doing it. I just mounted my phone to a gimbal, walked around the houses, and some of the most highly engaged products that I've ever put on social media are literal walkthroughs of properties of me just walking around talking about the house. So, yeah, do it. It's easy. It's cheap. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy. I mean, it does take some legwork, but it is a cost-effective strategy to market yourself.
Yeah, I spent some money and got one of those gimbals, and I love it. I mean, I walk around the house and it's just, you're walking around and talking.
Looks
and
great.
Then, something that you're really good at, I hired somebody to do mine. Irene on our team is our marketing editor. She cuts it all up, but there's all kinds of different apps and things you can use to edit your videos and to make it easy to chop them up and make it social content. You can do a 5-minute video and have social content for what, up to a week, 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we try to get 3 videos at minimum out of every walkthrough that we do. So we'll do, a walkthrough of the property where we'll talk about the house. We'll do a walkthrough of the property where it's just really quick. Here's a quick run through of the property, sped up footage. People really like that. I've had good engagement with that. And then we do something a little more artsy, which is a little bit slower shots. Look at this, very up close, personal, takes, lower field of view. And you can do more than that if you really want to. But I mean, within one visit to a property, you get 3 good pieces of content. You stretch that out over the month. You're well on your way to having a social media platform that really looks like you're doing a lot of volume.
Well, you're not well on your way. You're there, man. In my opinion, I look at your LinkedIn, and I mean, it's amazing what you're doing in there. And agents, if you're watching this, if you're a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia, or even you're not in Atlanta, Georgia, and you don't feel like you have the social presence, or you don't feel like you're doing video and editing like you should, reach out to Nolan. I mean, this guy he's doing it. He's killing it with open houses. He's using the open houses to create content, and then he's editing he's got all the software and all the apps to edit it, and he's chopping it up, putting it on different socials and LinkedIn, and it's providing him, you don't have to make all this content every day. You can spend one day making content for the month. So Nolan, how can anybody get in touch with you that wants to talk to you more about how they can grow their business using social and open houses?
Well, I'm a cell phone. I'm an old school kind of guy. You can call me at 423-315-1226. You can always reach me at my email address, which is nolan@thesanctuaryrealty.com. Visit my website. I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm on social media. I'm on every platform you can think of: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. We do it all. So if you
repeat your number for no, I should know your number. In this day and age, everybody's numbers. I don't know everybody's number. So what's your number again?
423-315-1226.
315 what?
1226.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting that in the chat here in the comments. If you want to talk to Nolan, give him a call. Look him up on social. If you're an agent out there that's doing 2 deals or 200 deals, and you think you need to get a little better at your video, how to do it, the easiest way to do it, efficient. That's another thing. Nolan is extremely efficient with his time and how he does all this. Give him a call, reach out to him, and he'll servant's heart. He'll tell you everything you need to do to get off the ground. And like he said, you just need to get started. That's the main thing. Just take the first step. And so, Nolan, anything else on your mind before we wrap it up today?
No, Mike, you go ahead and lead the way.
Well, thank you so much for coming again today. And Nolan and I have been working together for quite a while. We do have a podcast that we're working on. We haven't announced it yet, but that'll probably start either the end of this month or the beginning of next month. And the podcast is going to be all about helping realtors grow their business, pretty much production. I mean, how do you sell more houses, acquire more clients, convert more listing appointments to sellers, all the things. And we love doing this kind of stuff, and they're going to start probably into this month or next month. But be looking out for that. We'll make an announcement on social media as well. And please tune in and watch us. We'll record them and then we'll play them afterwards. So anyway, Nolan, it's great seeing you again today, man. Thanks for your time. Thanks for spending some quality time with us and sharing all this information. And let's do this again really soon, okay?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Price, Top Producer Series, signing off. See you next time. Thank you.